Every morning I wake up, I am grateful to be living in paradise and to be doing what I love. If anyone ever tells you they've not experienced challenges, trust me, they are lying. Success isn't something you find at the end of the journey. Success is something you really must define and celebrate all along the journey. I'm image and style expert Lauren Solomon, and I do what I love. I work with people to take their message from the inside and help them express it more fully and aligned on the outside from head to toe, so that when you show up anywhere, you actually show up complete. So the story goes, I've been in this business since I was 3. Literally, I got my first makeup kit when I was 3. My dad is a pharmacist. We've had the pharmacy in the family since 1929. My grandfather was a pharmacist and his 2 brothers, and then my dad followed. But in the late 50s, there was a transition from the soda fountain of Happy Days to cosmetics. It doesn't sound like it goes hand in hand, but the same space that you would use to keep a soda fountain in a pharmacy, you could actually supply with cosmetics. And that's how this whole thing started, was that they made the transfer in the pharmacy to a giant cosmetics counter. My folks were newlyweds. My mother's now the wife of the boss. So the salesmen come in and they give samples to the wife of the boss. And my mother then said, could we get a box for my 3-year-old? Because I don't really want her pulling through my stuff. Let's get her her own. And then if you fast forward many years, I was in the executive MBA program at NYU in New York City. And we were given an assignment to create a business that we would love to walk out to tomorrow if we could. So here we were all executives in corporate America, mostly from Wall Street. And some of us were very happy doing what we were doing. I, on the other hand, was crying myself to sleep every night. I just couldn't see myself doing what I was doing forever. And I went home over the weekend and said, what would I do every minute of every day if I possibly could? And this was it. This was my hobby. I had been doing this for friends and family all my life. I would take people into my closet and bring them out in my clothes, and they'd look in the mirror and love what they saw, and they would smile and they would be happy. So it was my gift. It was what I just loved to do. I didn't know I could do it as a living. And I presented it to my classmates, who were 43 senior executives of Wall Street, and they said, where do we sign and how do we begin? And I say that was the first time that the universe kissed me on the head and said, go. And that very moment changed my life. When I finished my MBA, I went back for postgraduate work in image. And while I was doing that, I was part of the transformation team for the merger between Chemical Bank and Manufacturers Hanover in New York City. I was going to school on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I would come in on Wednesday and Friday, and we would do lunch and learns with my team. I'd bring hats and eyeglasses and wigs and different necklines and say, this is what they taught me, and I need to know if it really works. And one afternoon, I got a phone call from the head of the sales organization saying, Lauren, I understand you're doing this image thing. And I thought he was going to fire me for sure. And he went on to say, I've been trying to bring image to this organization for 15 years. You are doing something, and you're doing it for a group of people who wouldn't do anything that didn't have personal benefit to them. So number 1, what are you doing? And number 2, can you do it for the whole organization? And I presented them with a proposal. They created a position for me as Vice President of Professional Image Development for the then Chemical Bank, which 4 weeks later became Chase Manhattan Bank. And for the next 5 years, I was the in-house image expert for Chase Manhattan Bank. I was so happy. I was so high all the time. I was living this amazing dream. The next shift really came when I received a phone call from the dean of the business school at NYU, asking if I would be interested in creating a mandatory for graduation curriculum program for professional skills. So when I left the bank, I left to go develop that, and I taught that at NYU for 5 years. On 9/11, I had an exclusive contract with Credit Suisse First Boston in the World Trade Center. And on that day, my business blew up, but my clients, thank God, all survived. But it was a harrowing experience for all of us, and life really changed. And I had started writing my book, but because of the Credit Suisse job, I had put it on the shelf. So now I had plenty of time. So within 6 weeks, my book was finished, and within 6 months it was published. And I was on a world tour on behalf of the image consulting community to help people understand the true value and power of your image. In 2004, I was working in Turkey, and when I finally came back, it was 2005, and I came back sick and worn out, and I could not move. And I could barely make it from the sofa to the bathroom to the kitchen on a daily basis, and I couldn't work. I was just done. And I had a vision that I was going to get a 9-to-5 job doing temp work, doing PowerPoint presentations for corporations, because I loved the creativity and I loved the idea of not doing what I be and being what I do. And so I had a bit of a screaming match with God from my sofa, but it went something like this. If you want me to keep doing this gift, which is clearly a gift, it has to be easier. I can't work this hard all the time, because if I'm meant to work hard, then I need to have a life that supports me and sustains me doing it. Otherwise, I'm going to get a temp job doing PowerPoint presentations so I can go to work at 9, come home at 5, and have the rest of my life. The next day, the phone rang from, it was a colleague of mine who was the personal advisor to a number of CEOs across the country. And he said, "Lauren, I've got people who need you. The only challenge is that they don't know they need you, and I can't fully explain to them why they need you. They know about you, but you need to get in front of them and explain the rest." And then, I don't remember if it was later that day or the next day, I got another call from a young attorney who said, "I've been researching image experts. I'm up for partnership in a very large firm. I'm competing with a lot of very, very savvy people, and I want to be one of those people. Can you help me?" And I said, "Yes, I can. However, you should talk to some other consultants. And the match is very important." He said, "Miss Solomon, maybe you didn't hear me. I'm an attorney. I've done my due diligence. I'm calling to hire you. I'm not asking you how much, and I'm not even asking you when. You tell me when, and I'll be ready." And I said, "Well, I'm on medical leave right now, and I should be available in 6 weeks. He said, "I'm putting you on my calendar 6 weeks from now." And he never asked me how much. And it was the first time that I hadn't received an inquiry or hadn't had a conversation that led off with how much. And it was such a giant sign that things were right, that this is what I'm supposed to do, and that's what kept me going. Otherwise, I would be doing PowerPoint presentations as temp work still. If I were to advise anyone about doing what they love for a living, I would say take the time to find what it is you love. It is so worth taking the time, even if you have a day job, even if you're still working, even if you're doing something that you know is not yet it, take the time to really explore the things you do love and look for a way to take what you love and partner it with your skills and your talents so that you can then identify audiences, businesses, industries that could use that combination of passion and talent, and you could get paid for it, because ultimately, this is all you've got. You're working a lot in this lifetime, and you want that work time to be filled with joy and to be filled with love and to be filled with your own sense of success and accomplishment. And really the best way to do that, it's not the only way, but the best way is to really spend some time with yourself and identify your passions, identify your talents, and find a way to match them into something that exists. And if it doesn't exist, create it. If you can integrate your image, your vision for yourself, your passions and your talents, your skills, and then come out on the other end with a job and work that you love, you'll never have a job. It will just be a labor of love. You are the only one who can find out what you need and then bring it to the world. And by doing that, you do better in the world than you can ever do otherwise. We're waiting for you. Everybody's waiting for you. We need more people who do what they love.